She won the ISA gold medal in El Salvador a couple months later. Now she's on an absolute heater. She kind of got a really quick start in our heat yesterday, built momentum quickly, so we'll see if she's able to do that again in this quarterfinal.
That was nice. Into the 5, nice float at the end. This is the replay of Malia. Gets the 5, pulls up for the tight 5. Second turn, I like the little soul arch there. Just almost loses her footing, but gains her composure. It was great because we had so many of the shapers on the sand yesterday, and we got a lot of good insight from those shapers as well.
Were you able to talk to Josh Martin, but we could talk about that after Rachael's wave. She takes a couple steps up to the tip. She's able to hang on for a while. A couple steps back, and then she'll hit the end section.
Great start there for R.Tilly. Yeah, I think she has probably one of the most unique boards of the entire field, definitely of this quarterfinals. At pintail.
The opportunities for Malia today will be to see if she can hold those nose rides through the section as we get a chance to look at this from Rachael, Liv.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of the difference maker. I mean, we think back to Chloe's 8 and 7. I wasn't able to see her 7. I was like walking down here from the parking lot, but
seems like this board fits really nicely into the quick curves here in Huntington Beach today. Now we see the first look at Malia Ilagan. She got a wave right off the jump, 517. She's back at it. Losing her balance a little bit there midway, so that'll take away from the flow of the wave a little bit. But listen to that crowd support.
Well, you asked me, Liv, if I got to talk to Rachel's shaper, Josh Martin. I didn't get to speak to Josh. I did go looking for him, but he'd left by the time I was down on the sand. Really inspiring listening to Wayne, and I'm really respectful of the fact that the shapers are down here. And this is a nice start, touching that 5, quick with the footwork, in for a second 5. No hold of the nose ride through the section, but 2 touches of the 5, a nice turn. The waves are small and you have to be so busy.
Levitated hang 10, and that's, I think, what elevated to the excellent range. So now we have Rachael here trimming. She's able to get the tap and then not quite able to stick the finish, but I don't know what she did out the back. We'll see if it's able to elevate her score. I had a board shaped by Josh Martin when I was like 11 or 12, and I remember being in his little shop in his backyard, and I pointed that board, and I was like, that board has a lot of rocker. Whose is that? And he was like, oh, that's Rachel's. That's the type of rocker is only for Rachael.
Seems like everyone at this level has a huge file of history of surfers they've gone against, of rounds they've made it through. And you kind of just check off the boxes, right? So for Chloe, her first morning heat, that gave her some positive feelings going into the water.
And that was nice on the toes, on the nose, but not much linkage to that wave. But this looks nice for Malia.
Able to crank that turn back around, gets a lot of rail engagement, even on a pretty small wave.
I really love that. I like the composure. I like the fact that she held her position on that 5 for a little bit longer. 616. This is nice to appreciate on the replay, the way she just kept pace of things. Finds the 5 here with that little stall from the front, holds that 5, but my favorite part is this turn here. Onto the tail and really brings that back, and you can just see how she widens the stance. I think her timing was spot on, and then of course holding that 5 to the point where as she walked to the tail, it created some acceleration to really give her some emphasis on the cutback.
The patience paid off there for Malia. Now we see R.Tilly
answering back
out there on the nose. This wave's pretty slow, but she's making the most of it. Switches her stance, gets to the white water, styles it out.
Just behind Ginger and make Ginger work hard. And Ginger won the paddle battle, but Malia didn't get herself exhausted. But that was a nice 10. A smaller wave, and this wave just losing energy after that opening 10. But it was absolutely key that she did commit to that hang 10 to just give a little. I think it was key that she got the 10 in there. But look at that tight nose ride from Malia, also answering back. It's going to be a couple of similar scores exchanged here, I think.
10 for 10 right there. So Malia makes this heat a little bit more...
paddle battle.
There we go.
A higher degree of difficulty for that opening nose ride. Liv, what do you think of this compared to Rachel's wave?
This one, I think that she has a little bit more critical nose riding sections on this wave than Rachel's wave. She did get the 10, but it was pretty flat.
Shapers love that.
Absolutely. So interesting here, and just interesting appreciating the difference between the flatter boards that are faster and the rocket boards that are slower but then easier to turn, and then the shapers try to incorporate the bottom contours and the rail shapes to get that fine balance. In contrast to Malia, her board's a little bit flatter, but for her approach, her Wayne Rich board is clearly working well for her style and the types of surfing that she wants to do.
It's always interesting to me when you think about the boards you're seeing in the rack today and throughout this week, these 9.4s, 9.6s.
I don't know, like 9-4. But now, like, I understand like how the rocker interacts with a lot of the other parts of the board. I understand like how the tail plays an impact on how well the board's able to nose ride, and I've been able to advocate myself and communicate with Michael to create a board that works best for my needs, and I've really seen that in my most recent pintail. And then we have Malia taking it right down the line. Looks like she's not going to be able to hang on to that one, though.
That was interesting for Malia because you could see as she started to paddle for that wave, she knew she needed to slow down. She was slightly too far in.
That's something that is pretty tricky, especially out here today. But looks like we have Rachael taking a crack at it, paddling pretty hard. She won't make it in, but then Malia under priority. Nice wave lining up in front of her. 2 steps to the nose, gets the tap to the 10. Another nose ride, and let's see if she's able to combo it up with a turn. Just catches a rail.
That was a potential high score had she just ridden out of that turn.
I think Rachael dodged one on the previous exchange as well. You saw her take off and just kind of run straight off the nose. Turn around, Malia.
She's going to try to get a redemption here on the inside.
Longboarders,
we can paddle for anything.
I feel like she was going for the walk-off there, trying to seal the deal with that one big turn. But now you sense a little bit more urgency with 5 minutes and 54 seconds left.
She's been in sticky situations before. I know she has the capability to get out of this, so we'll just see if the ocean provides her the opportunity to do so.
But we got a paddle. We got a little right-hand runner. Here goes Rachael. Straight up to the nose, 5 over. Right in the pocket there. She gets a good completion there. So you just said the C word, combo. That's what the judges have been looking for all week long. You know, they've been putting a lot of emphasis on those finishing maneuvers as well. Quick nose ride, big turn to finish. Is this a 6-7-7?
I think it's going to come in maybe just a bit under. I don't feel like she got the nose ride that's required of a score of that size, but I don't know, Sam, what do you think?
I like this wave. What I like is she finds the 5, but look at the footwork into the turn. There, 2 steps back more, and then just jams it and comes out with speed. We saw Kai Ellis Flint having a ride.
Kind of that traditional comp zone. Rachael sees a little something coming through, giving it all she's got, looking for a 6-2-4. And that's not Rachael's fault. That's just a bad wave, but she had no other choice to go. And look at the consistency in the scoreline for Malia. 6-6-7s, throwing away high 5s. She went out there and did business. So our third semifinalist is set.